Hello and welcome back to another We Ourselves video. Today I want to begin my Harry Potter series with an understanding of how magic and Muggle technology is viewed within the Harry Potter universe. One of the biggest hurdles that I had to get over when approaching the Harry Potter franchise were the words witches and witchcraft. For those coming from a particularly evangelical point of view, those were two big, heavy-hitting words. Although I have to note that we didn't get as triggered over the words wizard and wizardry as much as we did witches and witchcraft. And given the history of this country and Christianity in this country and their feeling towards women, I'm not surprised that witches and witchcraft had a much more negative connotation. Because we know, again, looking at history, that women, particularly Native women who had a understanding of nature and nature remedies, were immediately labeled as witches, particularly since it often was at odds with the white male-dominated so-called medical profession. Just something that I noted, but that's a topic for another time. The other big concept that I had to wrap my head around as I approached the Harry Potter series, coming from, again, a more like evangelical background, was the very idea of magic itself. And I recall having a conversation with a relative talking about how they would not read or watch any of the Harry Potter movies because of all of the magic. But then I pointed out that this person and other Christians have no problem taking themselves and their kids to Disney World. You know, the Magic Kingdom. But again, that's a topic in a video for another time. Today, what I want to do is begin with that very concept of magic in Harry Potter. Because of all the hysteria over Harry Potter, I expected each chapter in each book to end with all the ingredients for a young kid to try to brew their own potion so they can try it out on their friends and their family. And of course, that's not what the books were about, and that's not what the movies are about. And it was that discovery on my part that settled any doubts in my mind in enjoying the Harry Potter series and accepting it for what it was. For me, the idea of doing this particular video came as I watched a first-time Harry Potter reviewer who voiced an opinion of the wizarding world while watching the third Harry Potter movie. Towards the end, Professor Lupin uses magic to neatly pack his suitcase. The first-time reviewer's response was that that's really lazy for him to do that instead of just walking over and doing it manually with his hands. And by extension, he was saying that the wizards in general were actually lazy by using their magic to do common, ordinary, everyday things. And so I thought about that and I said, this would be a really good topic to start off these series of videos because it's ironic that in the book, the exact opposite is expressed by the witches and wizards themselves. The wizards and witches in the Harry Potter universe see Muggle technology as a handicap that is used by non-magical human beings to save themselves time or to compensate for their lack of magic. And there are a few comments in the movies that are made by Mr. Weasley in particular, who, by the way, is often the person to make these comments in the book also because he has this intense fascination for all things Muggle, in particular, their technology. And it's almost as if witches and wizards see Muggles as handicapped or impaired in some way. I know that can be kind of odd for people just watching the movies because Mr. Weasley's comments are often seen as one-off or throwaway lines, but it underlines the general view that most wizards and witches have of Muggles and Muggle technology. They really look at it as if humans, non-magical humans, are compensating for not having the natural ability to use magic. And although that particular first-time Harry Potter viewer thought that Lupin was lazy for using magic instead of his hands to do a mundane task, when we look at the Muggle or the real world, we discover that we are actually the lazy ones. Think about it. Just about every technological advance that has happened to Muggle civilization, or again in the real human world, has come about as a labor-saving device. The invention of the wheel, the domestication of the horse for use in farming, transportation, and production of all kinds, all the way up to the 1950s and the 60s in our country with the advent of labor-saving devices like washing machines and dishwashers, the gas-powered lawnmower. You can go on and on and on, but all of these inventions were done by human beings, muggles, to make labor easier and or to magnify what we can do with our labor and efforts. I mean, just look at something really simple, such as the remote control. First-time Harry Potter viewers may see a wizard as being lazy for waving a wand around and having a suitcase pack itself, or having dishes wash themselves, or food cooked on its own, or laundry placed on a line outside. Yet, isn't the remote, among other things that we use in the real world, isn't the remote control a muggle form of a wand? Instead of us getting up and manually changing channels or changing the input on our smart TV or our monitors, what do we do most of the time? We pick up a remote because it's much easier to do so. God forbid we misplace the remote, because we'll spend more time looking for it than it would take to actually walk to the TV and manually change the channel. I think another really good example that you see in the movie, and some people did not catch it or understand exactly what was happening. When you're at an event and you need to magnify your voice, you can point your wand at your throat and say sonorous. I think that's the spell that's used. And you see that done in one or two movies. But for us non-magical people, we need a PA system. We need speakers. We need microphones. We need all of these things that we have to use to magnify our voice so that it's heard throughout an auditorium or a stadium or a large space. But for wizards, all they have to do is point their wand at their throat and their voice will be magically magnified so that it can be heard by thousands of other witches and wizards. We have to build a lot of technology to compensate for the fact that we can't point a wand at our throat and magnify our voice. For wizards, it's not being lazy. What they see is their natural use of a natural ability. And that's how he and the larger magical community sees muggles and their muggle technology. So anyway, that's this video. I hope it's been informative and has helped you to really see how magic is viewed within the Harry Potter universe. As always, like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you in the next video.